Hi there. Welcome to what I'm calling moonveilvisions. Disclaimer, I'm not a psychic. I don't claim to be by any means. I'm just a girl who has sometimes a strong sense of intuition and see things and know things, and that is what I'll say about that. I'll kind of explain to you what I mean. I have just a little bit of notes written down because in the past, I want to say 6 to 8 months, things have really ramped up for me. And I think a lot of that comes down to me getting off of social media and just meditating a lot more. So to give you some context, I'm born and raised in Louisiana. I'm 28 years old. My mom also has a very similar sense of intuition as I do. Hers has a lot more to do with people, like when she meets someone, how she feels about them. I've had that once or twice in my life, and I'll touch on that later. But she has also had the same pregnancy dreams as I've had. And by that I mean, in my dream, it's not like a sign or a symbol, it's me physically pregnant. And I've never been pregnant before in my life, so I know it's not me. So I've had these dreams more than a handful of times, and I don't ever know who is pregnant, which is kind of annoying. But it's always someone related to me, or in my friend group, or in my acquaintances, someone adjacent to them. And it almost always happens, which is crazy. But my mom has had the same thing. I think she knew that my aunt was pregnant before my aunt did, I think. So yeah, very weird. I love it though, because it's kind of cool, but it's never who I suspect, which is funny. So yeah, I've had a lot of dreams about that. I also had one really weird dream, maybe in July or August last year. I can't remember exactly. And I wish I had wrote it down at the time. Now I'm trying to write my dreams down more so I don't forget them. But this dream was so odd and so vivid. I remembered it very well. And a lot of times I don't remember my dreams. I'll remember the pregnancy dreams, but I won't really remember a lot else except for this one, because it was just so random. Like, there were 3 different things that had happened and none of it made sense to me when I woke up. I just remember thinking about it being like, why did I dream that? One of them was I saw someone with like a skin condition or irritation or something on their body, and I was like, and that was it. There was no context to it. And so I was so confused by that. And like the next day or the day after, the same thing I saw in my dream, I saw on me. So it wasn't anything like to really worry about, and it went away right away, but it's something I never had happen to me before. And so I was like, whoa, I saw that exact same thing in my dream. So that was very weird. And I told my husband, I was like, this was in my dream. I don't understand why I saw that either. And then the 2 other things I can't really remember, and so it's going to be hard for me to explain, so I'm just going to skip over it. But 3 different things, and they all made sense to me in the next 3 days after I dreamt that. Let me see if there's any other dream thing. Not that I can think of at the moment, but I will move on to meditation. I've been meditating a lot more, and I don't often get a lot of visual things in meditation. Sometimes I'll just get thoughts and ideas. I'll try and write those down. But this one time, this was October 27th of last year, I believe. And I'm saying I believe because on the 28th, I wrote something down, which will make sense in a second. So in my meditation, I like to do guided meditations or like sounds or music or something. And I can't remember what I was listening to at the time, but I had a flash of a vision. And of this flash, it was a car accident. I couldn't see it super well, but I could see police lights, and I could see someone hit their brakes really hard and hit something. I couldn't see any people. I could see it was kind of getting late at night. I didn't really know where I was. I'm thinking of a specific place in Louisiana that I've driven plenty of times, and I think it was somewhere near there. But anyway, so I had that. It was literally like 2 seconds, 3 seconds max that I could see in my head, and that was it. And I just remember that being so strong to me, like such a strong visual. And I was like, why did I see that? Like, why am I making things up? Because that's always what I think. I always think that my brain is making stuff up. And anyway, I just kind of filed it away and didn't think too much about it. I didn't tell anyone either. So the very next day, my mom calls me and tells me that my aunt was in a really bad accident. And that's why I'm saying October 28th, because I wrote it down. And I told my mom as soon as she said that I saw that accident last night in my head. And she was like, what do you mean? Because, you know, my mom has had similar things to me happen. So she never thinks I'm crazy. She just goes with it. And so she was like, what did you see? And I was like, well, I saw someone slam their brakes really hard. I saw police lights. Like, I knew it was a car accident. And my aunt is still in recovery. She's still in the hospital. And it is April 10th today, I think, or 11th. It was a very severe accident. She's okay. She is alive. She can talk and breathe and move. I don't know if she's walking necessarily right now, but yeah, it kind of blew me away that I saw that. And literally the next day I get a call saying that my aunt was in an accident. So very profound to me, especially that I got that in meditation and not in a dream. That is so strong to me that I saw it while I was awake. My subconscious was open, or whatever you want to call it, at that time, and I was able to see that. I think I have a few more stories. I'll talk about some other family. When my grandmother died in 2020, I did not know she died until my dad called me. I don't speak to him very often, so when I saw his call come through, I seen his name on my phone, and I just knew that she died, and I didn't answer the phone because I knew it and I didn't want to hear it, you know? Well, my sister was also in the car with me, and my dad instantly called her phone right away. And so I was like, you have to pick it up now. Like, I know she's gone. And she did, she died. But that was such a strong sense of knowing, like I just knew it. There was no way he was going to tell me anything else. That's exactly why he called me. And I know people can argue, like, he doesn't talk to you that often, so maybe you just realized or something. And you could say that, but he will call me randomly sometimes. It's just not super often. So it's not uncommon for him to call me. It was just, I just knew, you know? And then the next one actually happened pretty recently, within the last 2 months or so. My mom called me because she gets these feelings. And so she called me and she's like, I feel like something's going on. What's going on? I was like, I don't know. I don't know anything that's happened. And we've kind of moved on from that. And we're talking about how we both have this crazy intuition sometimes. And, you know, she said her mom kind of had that too. And maybe my grandmother, Agnes, who I'm going to talk about, possibly had that as well. She's saying possibly because my mom never met her grandmother. She died the year before my mom was born. And the only thing that we know about her is she was in a car and was on a train track, like driving. They were driving on the train, like through, you know, going over the train tracks, and a train hit them and she died. And that's the only thing I know about her besides her name. And so we were having this conversation and talking about her and that whole situation. And I have a photo of her, and I wish I'd have grabbed it out of my room. Maybe I'll show you in a little while. I took that picture of her and put it on my dresser in my bedroom, just because I was thinking about her and like how I wish my mom could have known her grandmother, or, you know, something like that. So I just put it on my dresser, and this is all the same day that I got off the phone. Half an hour later, I'm leaving to go to work, and I have to cross the train tracks to go to work unless I go a different way, which I always go this way. So the second my car is on the train track, like, here's the track, here's my car, this happens, then the indicator, like the sound that the train is coming, turns on. And in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, hi, Agnes. Hello. You know, to me, it was such a sign from her that she was like, what can I do to make this so obvious that I hear you, I see you, you know, I know you, kind of thing. So I just was like, hi, like, thank you for giving me the sign, kind of thing. And so as soon as I got to work, I texted my mom. I was like, this is what happened. And my mom was like, oh my God, she was like saying hi, definitely. I was like, yeah. And you can believe what you want, of course. You might think it's totally a coincidence, but it's so coincidental to me. Like, it's so obvious to me that it wasn't before I hit the track. It wasn't after I crossed it. It was dead on it, like dead center on the track. I didn't stop. I was just there. I was continuing, and it happened right there. So very crazy to me and so mind-blowing to me and so cool at the same time. I was just like, this is cool. I wish I knew more stuff about her, so she could give me other signs, you know what I mean? So anyway, those are kind of those stories. And the last one I think I'm going to talk about is the coworker story that I have. This has more to do with getting a weird feeling about someone. Kind of, my mom, that's her specialty. She gets that all the time. So I was assistant manager at a coffee shop for about 5 years, me and my sister. And we got a new barista working, and I think I was leaving the shift and she was just about to start hers. So I had only interacted with her for maybe 15 minutes or so, something like that. And as soon as I met her, something was off. The vibe was off. I don't know what it was. Her energy was off. It just felt so strange to me and so strong. Like nothing I felt before just meeting someone for the first time. And the thing is, everyone thought I was crazy there because she seemed so nice. But that was the thing to me. She was so nice. She was too nice. It felt so disingenuous to me that she was like trying to put this face on for everyone, and I could just see right through it. I don't know what it was. And I'm going to spare you all the random details, but I'm going to tell you the long story short. She started seeing one of the guys that worked with us. And from what I knew, he seemed to be a good guy. No, I didn't know him very well. And so that's what makes it even stranger that they got together, and then what happens. And so anyway, they were together for a little while, and then he decided he wanted to drop out of college, but his parents were not going to let him do that, and he was going to move in with her. They also didn't want that to happen because he started, he'd been acting so strange. And anyway, so they decided to go to his parents' house to get his stuff, and they were there and beat his parents up, and then came to work the next day to brag about it. I wasn't there when that happened. They told me this after the fact, but I just thought that was crazy. And I was telling everyone, like, I told you, like, I hate to be like, I told you so, but I knew from the very moment I met her that something was weird. I didn't know what it was because I never knew this girl a day in my life, but I just knew something wasn't right. And I couldn't tell you what it was in the moment, but I knew it. And I'm glad I listened to myself because that's crazy. So yeah, this is going to be kind of my space to share my intuitive thoughts and feelings and things that I see and feel. I don't really hear a lot of things. I did hear one time, this is a cool thing to bring up, I guess, now that I'm talking about it. The grandmother that I said, her name is Brenda. So I knew that she died when my dad called me. Well, shortly after she'd passed, so maybe a month or so, 2 months, something like that, I was at my mom's house putting some dishes in the dishwasher or something like that. I was the only one home. No one else was home with me. And I swore that I heard my name, and it was her voice. And it was kind of like I wasn't scared or anything, but I was just like for a second I had to think if anyone was home, and I was like, no one's here. It's just me. But I know I heard my name, and it sounded like her. And I was like, well, that's kind of crazy. And my grandfather, my grandmother Brenda's husband, called me, and I told him, I didn't know if I should tell him, but I told him, and he said, I've heard her speak to me before too. And I thought that was crazy and kind of validating because we've both had similar experiences, but just really wild, Sorry if you can hear my dog drinking water. Anyway, I do have somewhat of a paranormal story that I'll share in another video. This video is almost 15 minutes long, and I'm not trying to edit anything. And so this is Apollo. Yeah, want to share these stories with people who had similar experiences, because I'm not the only one, and I know there are a lot of us out there who experience a lot of intuitive happenings or see things or dream about things that happen. And I would love to hear your stories. I am thinking of creating a email address, and people can send in their stories and maybe I'll read them and kind of talk about them. I think that would be really fun. And so yeah, my next story will be a paranormal story time. And in the meantime, if I get any other intuitive hits, I will let you know. I think that's all for now. I'll see you next time. I was just going to post this video and I literally was just talking about her, but my aunt is going home from the hospital. How crazy is that? I just thought I had to add that in here. I just asked if she's currently walking or not, because I still don't know about that. But yeah, I thought I'd give you guys some good news after all these crazy stories that I've had. But yeah, my aunt's going home from the hospital, so that's awesome.